Hello, hello. Thank you for coming and checking out my channel. My name is Jennifer and this is Jen the Bookworm. And this is my September TBR. I'm a tiny bit late with it, but if you're familiar with my channel and you've been hanging out with me, you know that I haven't been recording for a little while and I'm sort of trying to catch up right now. So you're going to see there's a few videos that are coming up. I'm wearing the same shirt in all of them. That's because I'm recording them all in one day. But I did want to put out a small TBR, what you can expect to hear about from me, English, what you can expect from me to be reading this month. So I'm kind of mostly a fantasy girly. I've been mostly reading fantasy. I read a lot of horror too, and a very small amount of romance. So maybe 70% fantasy on this channel usually. But right now I'm sort of not in a fantasy slump. I'm just kind of interested in other things right now. So I haven't been reading a lot of fantasy. I know that will change. I did just finish reading The Faithful and the Fallen in July and August, and that's fantasy, and I read a lot of that. But I think since then, this is my version of letting that marinate with me while I move on and do something else. So, so I have a TBR for September that doesn't really have any fantasy on it, but has some good books on it. So I have for the first book that I plan to read in September. Spoiler alert, I read it already. It's called False Witness by Karen Slaughter. So I needed a book that was kind of smallish that I could get through because I was waiting for September 5th when Stephen King's book Holly came out to start reading that, and I was going to read it the moment it came out. That didn't happen, but I got this book, False Witness, and I started reading it, and things kind of popped in the way. It kind of made me have to read a little slower than I was anticipating. So I read it all through September 5th and started Holly then late. It happens. But I had thought maybe I would quit reading this book partway through, read Holly, and come back to it. But it was so good. It was such a good book and drew me in. I just couldn't stop reading it. So by the time Holly came out, I had 4 hours left in this book, but I wasn't going to put it down at that point. So this book is about a couple of sisters who they grew up on the wrong side of the tracks. You can extrapolate that from what you will. They did not grow up in a rich neighborhood. They did not have a functional family. No dad in the household. Mom was a wreck. Just a really bad excuse for a mom. And so both of these girls grew up kind of having to make it on their own, survive on their own. They had each other kind of thing. They start babysitting for a man who ends up hurting them, and as children, but the story really kind of takes place when they're adults. As an adult, the oldest, Lee, she is a attorney. So the main character, she's a lawyer, and she ends up having to defend the son of the man that hurt her as a child. And the story is kind of a thriller. It's kind of not really a mystery, but it's kind of a thriller story that it really draws you in and draws you through. There probably should be a trigger warning for SA, although honestly, if you've ever read anything of Karen Slaughter's work, you know all of her books are like that. All of her books have vulgar swearing in it. All of her books are, trigger warning with SA or violence or something along those lines. That's what her stories are like. So I think if I say it's a book by Karen Slaughter, pretty much you can expect those kinds of things in it. It's the next book that I intend to read and have read is Holly by Stephen King. As I said, I was waiting for his book to drop on the 5th, and I started reading it on the 6th. I am done reading it already, and I really enjoyed the book. It only took me a couple of days to read it. But Holly is a recurring character within some of King's stories. She is an investigator for Finders Keepers, and although the investigation business is kind of on a hold for a little while because her partner has COVID and her mom just died of it, and she's trying to grieve and go through that process. She is drawn into a missing persons case, and she takes it and it goes from there. And she's able to, in the course of this missing persons case, find a couple other missing people that could possibly be tied to the case. It was a very well done book. I really highly recommend it. I have a review coming up for it. If it's not up already, it should be up soon. I recommend going and watching that video and to get my full thoughts on the story. But I do highly recommend it. It was very well paced. He stuck the landing. It was great. It was a great book. So moving on to books I have not yet read. So back in March, I think, of 2022, 2022 or 2023? 22, I think. My sister and I did a sister read vlog experience where we picked up a book by Kelly Armstrong, and we were going to also read a different book by Karen Slaughter, but once we read the City of the Lost by Kelly Armstrong, my sister really just wanted to continue going with that series, and we did. We read all 7 in the series, but there's a spin-off series that my sister informs me she has already read the first book of because she sucks. She didn't wait for me. But it's called Murder at Haven's Rock by Kelly Armstrong, and I thought maybe this month I'd pick that up and read it. Her books are always quick reads for me, couple day reads. They're usually fast-paced mystery thrillers. I really kind of am in that genre right now, so that's what the next book I'm going to pick up and read. It hasn't been that long since I read the series, so I kind of want to read it so I don't have to reread a lot of books in order to read this one. So I'm going to pick that book up next. After that, I think I'm going to pick up another Karen Slaughter book. Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. I've not read a lot of Karen Slaughter. I think I've read 3 of her books now. So I'm kind of going through and I'm really enjoying her books, so I thought I would read another one. I'm not sure what Pretty Girls is supposed to be about because I try not to spoil myself on it. I'm sure I read a synopsis at one point when I was like, ooh, I'll buy this one, but I don't remember what it is. But that's what I'm going to be reading. The last book I'm going to read is a horror book, No One Gets Out Alive by Adam Neville. And this book was recommended by Jordaline. I really like Jordaline, and I don't often get a lot of overlap with the books that she reads. But I thought I would try this one out and see what I thought about it. It looks like it's a kind of a more fast-paced horror book, so I'm looking forward to that. So I've got mostly murder mysteries and a little bit of horror going on this month, and maybe we'll see. Next month is October, so I doubt we'll get too far into fantasy next month either. It's going to be horror. I'm going to be doing spooky reading. I'm going to be doing... there was a lot of horror books last year that I got and I didn't end up getting to. We'll see if I'll get to some of those or if I'll get to some new ones. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what's going on. But that's what I intend to read in the month of September. And stay tuned to see if I do. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you have recommendations for me for other thriller mystery books, it's not my normal genre, so I don't have a lot of them. But if you've got some recommendations for me, I would love to hear them in the comment section below. If you're looking forward to October and you already know what you're going to be reading next month for spooky season or whatever, leave me some recommendations for that down below. I am happy to hear any kind of recommendations, and we'll see what we get to. So thank you very much for spending this time with me, hanging out, finding out what I'm going to be reading and what I have been reading, and I really appreciate you. If you liked this, please leave me a like. Please leave me sub if I haven't earned your subscription yet. I hope to do so with this video, and if not, stay tuned. Hopefully I will with another video. If you like me, please sub for more, and if you have already, I really appreciate your continued support. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.